Hey everybody, this is Brett, and I am green tonight because I have a green light on, and green is very cleansing, and that is exactly where we're at. It's the very end of winter and the beginning of spring, which is one of the most cleansing times of the year. And I have written a few things down that I might discuss tonight. I hope that I'm coming in loud and clear. And if you have any questions or comments, just write them down, type them out, and I'll try and get to them. So I've had a lot of mixed feelings and mixed thoughts and emotions lately. And I try and just kind of try and stay neutral with it all because there's just so much going on in our world right now. And yeah, it's kind of like you just don't want to buy into everything because there's so much polarity. It's best to stay as neutral as you can. And especially with it being in the sign of Pisces right now, which is really kind of spacey and airheaded, you know. It's really kind of not of this world and not focused on the material world. So until things change and go into Aries, you can expect that it's going to continue to be the same. And hi, Taylor. So I think that it requires a lot of meditation and a lot of faith to stay focused and centered, which is what this tonight presentation is all about, staying focused and centered. I'll tell you a little bit about what I've been doing lately. I really wanted to get outside and exercise, and today I finally did that. You see, when you don't have a dog anymore, you're just kind of not obligated to do that so much. Whereas before I was getting out pretty much every day to one degree or another. That's not been the case since chakra passed. And I've known that that needed to change, but winter time is a lot more of an inside time. And the topic of owning a dog and making a video or a live stream about chakra or about your dogs and owning dogs, I'm still not ready for that yet because it entails so much pain and difficulty and challenges. And there's just so many troublesome aspects of humans owning dogs and cats at this time. Just being alive as a human with this many humans on this planet at this time is a real challenge in itself, let alone having animals that you take care of that rely on you and depend on you for so many different things. And they can get really expensive, as well as the time that's involved with taking care of them. Thank you, Meatwad. Not everyone with a crazy name like that gets to stay as a viewer, at least one that gets to comment. So, yeah, faith, you know, whatever you believe in, whatever you believe in is going to have to be really strong for a while, because this whole pandemic thing, it's not over with. And it didn't just start when the pandemic started. Okay. All of this stuff was really scary to me for a lot longer before the beginning of last year. The way humans live and the way humans eat and the way all of the different things, aspects of humanity, for somebody that has political abilities like myself, that's been thinking about these things for more than 25 years, it's been scary for a long time. But it was even scarier before things started to come to a head for me. Because I was like I told you before, I was wondering, like, God, when are you going to do something about people? So we're in this all together. We're intricately connected to each other. If we weren't, it wouldn't be such a big deal. We're connected to each other in many different ways. It's like a big link. It's like a big chain. And when one link gets broken, then the whole thing falls and separates. We don't understand. We have no idea all the different intricacies of exactly how we're connected. But we are. And I think that we know this to one degree or another. We know that we are connected. And I think that the more people dumb themselves down, the more people clog themselves up, the more they become disconnected to a degree, or so they think. But the more you open yourself up by making efforts with natural healing, the more you start to understand how connected we are. The screen, I hope I'm still coming in okay. Hi, Carolina. Hi, Joe. Yes, I used to love to go to Dog Beach. So, people need social interaction. Okay, so I was telling my brother in an email the other day that I think that a large part of the reason why my dad was and became an alcoholic was because he wanted to go where everybody knew his name, the bar. He wanted to go where he could have fun and get silly and drunk and buy the bar around and be popular, tell jokes and all the things, all the funny things they do at bars. But it's largely, hi Cheryl, it's largely because people need people. And when you're just sitting at home watching television, television and the computer, it's been a huge thing to connect people and to get them to start thinking about what other people care about and think about. But it's not really, it doesn't really cut the mustard like being together in reality. And it's cool that we can talk live with each other on the internet, on the computer with Skype or with Facebook or whatever. But so many people, it's amazing that most of my friends, they're so shy. I was talking to one today this morning. I said, why won't you talk to me live? She'll talk to me with the messenger all day long. But she won't talk to me live because she says she's shy. And I know that people have different, apprehensions about being seen. Perhaps they don't think that they're attractive enough. Or, they think that because I've talked about how so many people are fat and obese, that I'll look down upon for that. And really, the reason that I talk about all of those things is because I don't want people to be fat and obese. Yes, people can make fun of people. But really, like I said, we're all so intricately connected that a large part of the reason why we try and change each other is because we know that we're being affected by other people that aren't doing things the way we think that they should be doing them. And so, I've really kind of been thinking about a lot of themes over a lot of us have. I've been thinking about a lot of different aspects and the way other people might be considering things. Because if we don't consider the way other people are considering things, then we're only thinking about our own tunnel-minded vision, yada yada. Sometimes for me, most of the time, I just have to realize that, I've been thinking about all of these things for a long time. And yes, I can go deeper into my considerations, but I'm pretty solid on a lot of different things. And I think that the reason that people don't have the same priorities that I do is because they haven't seen the difficulty with their health like I have. They didn't have the same childhood that I had. Maybe they don't have the same analytic abilities that I do. Whatever reasons it may be that they're not seeing the light like I have, I don't know. All I can tell you is that it's very frustrating sometimes for me. It's heartbreaking sometimes. It's spiritually challenging for sure and brings me closer to creation. And so I just have to do my best. And I have a lot of 12th house stuff, which is solitude. It has to do largely with that, with solitude. And that has to do with being with creation only. The 12th house is the last house on the chart, just like Pisces is the last sign. And the last sign and the last house are directly related to death. Hi, Lily Rose. And so right now is a very introspective, contemplative time. And today I went to Asheville just because I wanted to. Just because I wanted to get out and do something different. This morning I went for a bike ride. And I rode past a house of death. I was apprehensive about riding past this house because 2 weeks ago, this guy killed his fiancée and dismembered her less than a mile from here in this small town. Very small town, 1,600 people. And we don't have a murder here very often, especially a gruesome one like that. And they mentioned where it was, and that's the road that I like to go ride or walk on. And I'd seen the picture of the house online, and I knew where it was. I knew where it was, and I didn't want to drive by it until today. I just decided that I was going to put past any negative energy of it. In fact, on the way back, I stopped and said a prayer at the house. And I knew that was the house because I asked someone over there because there's a public park and library right by the house. And it was really sad because the porch is covered with toys. The woman I think she had 2 or 3 kids. And a friend of mine that works at the grocery store went to school with her. So there was toys all over the porch, and so that just made the whole thing sadder. But I went for a bike ride, and I rode all the way to the end of the road and back, which was a lot of uphill climbing, and I walked part of it. But on the way back, I stopped at the park, and I did some stretching on the swing sets and stuff. There's some hanging things that you can hang, and I really needed to hang and stretch my shoulders and arms. But it wasn't a bad day. I mean, weather-wise, it was kind of mostly cloudy. It's like that right now. It's mostly cloudy. But everything is just kind of drab. The energy is just kind of dull and drab, and it's kind of hard keeping mind upbeat with all of that. And I just wish that I could have a big party. I just wish I could have people over or something. But I know that most people are afraid. But a few days ago, I created a massage class on Airbnb. And I know that most of you think that you know that Airbnb is just for like staying at people's places, their rooms for rent or a whole house for rent. But they also have experiences on Airbnb now. And so I created a massage class, and I didn't have any really great massage class pictures. I had some, and I was able to manage. But it got approved, and I was wondering if it was even going to get approved because they're so afraid that you had to go through and accept all of these COVID things, wearing a mask, disinfecting everything, blah, 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 blah. So I created the class and they actually approved it. And so I'm just needing to get some good reviews and get going with that. And I've got the class set at a really cheap price. If anyone lives close to me here in just outside of the Asheville, North Carolina area, and they're interested in taking a class from me, it's only $25 for a 2-hour class now, which is dirt cheap. But I'm just doing that for a while to get some people coming and get some new pictures and get some reviews. Hopefully I'll get some good reviews for the class. But it's getting views. It shows on their website how many people have seen your ad. Yeah, I've noticed the flashing of the screen, Cheryl. I'm glad that at least the audio is okay. Hi, Sarah. So, anyways, I'm hoping that that gets going good soon. I'm needing to get some more business, so if anyone, I haven't been selling hardly anything, but then I haven't been really pushing products or making very many videos, so I'm just kind of, I've been doing a lot of healing and a lot of resting and a lot of cleaning up and prepping for a new year, you know, and getting everything organized really well. I've just been doing that. Um, Mentally and emotionally, everything, well, not emotionally, but mentally, I've been stabilizing a lot. And emotionally, I've been connecting a lot with animal videos and really like even pushing myself more and more towards plant-based diet. And it's kind of a different thing than when I first went vegan. It's very different because that was mostly for my physical state of being. I was really forced. I was very overly acidic, and physically, I really needed to go vegan for that reason. And so it wasn't for the animal consideration and love, etc. reason. But now it's a lot more towards that than the other. And so it's very different now. And since Chakra died, I've been watching like so many animal videos from like the Dodo channel and so many other African elephant channels and the Peepal Farm videos. And I'm donating a lot of, not a lot, but for me, a lot of money monthly to animal charities. And thanks, on that note, thanks anybody that's donating to me on Patreon or through my website, or if you're buying my products, I really appreciate it. Like I said, tomorrow, well, yeah, tomorrow I really got to get going, whether I feel like it or not, whether I really feel like working or not. I got to get going with selling my products, and I'm probably not going to send out an email. I'm probably going to be on the phone all day tomorrow calling people. And the first thing I'm going to do is call everyone that's bought products from me in the last couple of months and thank them and see if they need any help with the products, advice about the products. Oftentimes people will be interested in other products and have questions, and so that's what I'll do. I'll talk to them about that. But what I found the other day from calling people is that they really needed, I'll probably end up calling and talking to people for a long period of time tomorrow, because people right now, and you can totally understand that people right now really need someone to talk to on the phone because they've been so isolated. And so it's the perfect thing for me to do. Someone said the other day, "Oh, you call all your customers?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but, you know, for me, I don't live my life like the way most people, and I don't run my business the way most people run their businesses. Like, they're content with sending out ads in the mail or email or whatever, running ads on Facebook, etc. I get so much better bang for my buck by actually interacting with people on a personal level. I just think it's cool, especially being a YouTuber, because people will be like, they'll put me on this pedestal like, you guys should know that I have certain communication abilities, but I'm really just a normal person. And when I call people, they'll think that I'm like this YouTube god or something. Yeah, yeah, I like talking with you, Taylor. Taylor's a really nice person. And so is Sarah, and so is Joe, and so is Cheryl. Cheryl and I talk quite a bit on Facebook Messenger. I told you guys about Cheryl. She worked as a concierge, however it's pronounced, concierge, for the rich and famous at Chicago O'Hare, carrying their bags around for them and stuff, because God knows they can't carry their own bags. They're too wealthy and famous. But she has some interesting stories. Tea time, tea time. Cheryl gets to take a break now because nobody's flying on airplanes anymore. Hi, Glenisa. So the other day, a couple of weeks ago it's been now, I bought some blue chamomile. And I'd never heard of blue chamomile. And I'm really still not sure that it's real, like the color of it is really blue. And it's supposed to be, I think it's a German chamomile, but on the bottle it says Moroccan chamomile. Anything to sell the chamomile, right? But all I can tell you is that it has an amazing smell. If you go on Amazon, I bought mine at the co-op. I bought mine at the French Rod Co-op. And I went there today, like I mentioned before. I'll show you what it looks like, the bottle. It was $18, which is what you would pay on Amazon for it. Organic blue Moroccan chamomile. And it smells really, really good. And when you put some on your hands, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'll show you anyway. It is very bright blue. And you won't be able to tell really because the light is green. But it smells amazing. And I've been like addicted to putting one drop on my hands every night and just sitting here. But I'll tell you what, I've been a member of all these different animal groups on Facebook. And if you pay too much attention to the posts and you look at what all the different things that humans do to animals, it can get really, really depressing. And so many of the things that we're seeing in this world with this many people that aren't, a lot of them aren't taking, I mean, in our country, comparatively speaking, like compared to me, somebody like myself looks at the masses and the way they take care of themselves, especially now, it's gotten worse because the pressure of COVID makes people want to go to McDonald's more. It makes them want to eat junk food more. And so a lot of things, even though we're seeing how some things are coming around and a lot of people are being forced to do things in the right manner, in the right way. A lot of things like getting a vaccine instead of getting really healthy, instead of actually facing the truth, which is that we all need to do natural healing. A lot of people will opt for quick fixes, all kinds of quick fixes. And it can be somewhat depressing for those of us. But I can tell you from past experience that that's how it always is. Okay? Things always get worse before they get better. I don't know exactly why. You can theorize on these things as much as you want to. I think that it's because, possibly because people don't just hop on board with things immediately. Okay, so I can tell you for sure that, people may be weak and they may be resistant and they may be in denial, but they can't stay in those ways forever. Think about it. They can't stay in those ways forever. They have to eventually come to reality. The truth has to eventually rise to the surface. We know this. When? We don't know. That's not for us to decide. We just have to stay patient and know. See, this is the faith part. Right there. This is the faith deal. We have to know. We have to know that creation has this gig under control. That doesn't mean that we're going to personally survive this whole thing. And do I think that the vaccines are going to magically make everything better? What do you think? Do I think that this whole thing, that this is the last COVID, whatever they call it, what do they call it? The bad time. How many have we been through now? Two wave. They call it the wave, the third wave. Do I think that we're in the last wave of COVID and that it's all over with soon? Hardly. No. I think that next winter could be very, very difficult again, and God knows how long it might continue to go. I think that a lot of people are going to die from the vaccine. I think that a lot of people, like a whole lot of people, are going to have ill health effects from the vaccines, all the various vaccines. So yesterday I read that Denmark, the country of Denmark, has stopped the AstraZeneca vaccine because people were having blood clotting problems. Okay? So Denmark, the Scandinavian countries, those countries are the smartest countries, the most intuitive countries, in my opinion, in the world overall. Not in every aspect of human intelligence or various things that you can consider a human to be great at. But if you take all of the different aspects of a human being that you consider to be valuable, I would say that people from Scandinavian countries are at the top of the list. And one of the ways that you can tell that that's true is if you look up which countries are the most democratically free. What countries are the freest countries in the world? Look that up on Google. Thank you so much, Braden, and thank you, Deacon. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. Um, and so don't be surprised if you see that those countries continue to do like what Denmark has done, which stop the distribution of the vaccines. I've heard of several accounts. Just a few days ago, Nisi Pie, one of my viewers there, was telling me on Facebook that somebody that she knows, one of her neighbors, died shortly after getting the vaccine. And, if you look it up, you'll see it. There are several instances of that. So, but they did tests and they did trials before they started allowing the vaccines. And so they know that for the most part, people aren't just going to keel over from getting the vaccines. But if you ask yourself, do you think anybody that knows natural healing, anyone that knows that's watched all the commercials for all the drugs and this and that, anyone that's been doing massage and yoga and herbs and has an understanding for how we evolved from natural things, natural plants, natural thoughts, love, and good feelings and things like that. Would you say that getting a vaccine from AstraZeneca is something holistic that's going to improve your health over time, like, for instance, exercise? Nobody's going to come out and admit that. The only reason that people are getting the vaccine is because they're afraid of COVID. They're not getting it for a proactive reason, like a positive reason. You won't ever hear anyone say something to the effect of, well, I'm getting the vaccine because I think it'll increase my omega-3 count. It'll increase my glucose or blood count or something to that, something healthy. It's going to increase my circulation. It's going to make my skin look better. That's why I'm getting the COVID vaccine. No, you're not going to hear any of that. People are getting the vaccine because they're scared of dying from COVID. I'm not living my life like that. I'm living my life like this. So something I said in a post the other day on Facebook is that there's no such thing as a long-term natural health practitioner that would ever do any kind of conventional medicine. Somebody like myself that's been doing this for a long time, there's no way that we would ever buy into any of that. Not just vaccines, but any kind of conventional medicine. We don't even go to medical doctors. The only way that we would ever go to a medical doctor is for some kind of an emergency, like we got in a car accident or something like that. And when you live a life that's like mellow, I drove home today 50 miles an hour all the way from Asheville. I got it up to 50. I pushed the cruise control button and let it roll at 50 miles an hour the whole way. It's 40 miles to Asheville, so it took almost an hour. And so when you live that kind of a life, and you do things slow, even with the woodworking, and granted, I do some somewhat moderate or somewhat dangerous, moderately dangerous things with woodworking where the blade comes within that far from my thumb. But I do it so mindfully. When I turn the wooden spine rollers, I do it so mindfully, and I've done it for so long, and I don't take anything for granted. you know, that I'm pretty safe. Now check it out. I'll tell you about something else that I'm doing right now. There's a relatively, I'm not sure how long they've been around, probably for 10 years or something. But I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but in woodworking, they now have CNC machines, I believe they're called, CNC machines, where they can cut parts out electronically and program the cutting of those parts with a computer. And I think that soon I'm going to have my wooden spine rollers made in that way. And each one will come out absolutely perfect. I do them pretty good on the table saw by hand. I've shown you how I do that. But it'll be a lot easier to do it like that in the future. I probably will be able to cut the price a little bit, maybe, but it'll make it a lot, it'll free up a lot of my time to go sell them. They'll be more perfect. And also, it'll cost me more, but considering the amount of time that I'll save, it'll be totally worth it to have them done like that. Now check it out. When I called this guy to get an estimate, this guy in Raleigh the other day to get an estimate, I told him what I wanted, and he said, "Okay, so we'll make them out of plywood." And I said, "No, I don't do things like that, man." And he's like, a chip board or something, particle board. And I said, "No, no. I only make my products out of quality hardwood." So we're talking cherry or solid maple, soft maple. And it was kind of hard for him to grasp that I was doing that, but that's the reality of, like, if I'm going to make massage tools, see, I still have to do all the finish work on them. He's going to cut them out, but I still have to do all the finish work on them. And if I'm going to make a massage tool and put an hour or two of my time working and sanding and working my ass off to make this product, there's no way that I'm not going to use solid hardwood to finish it. It would just, when I make a wooden spine roller, it's going to last a person for their whole lifetime. Not only that, there's a mindset about this. I just sent the zebra wood. I've only made one zebra wood spine roller. And I sent that out to Jacob. I can't remember. I can't remember his name. But I sent that out to someone the other day. He paid a little bit extra for the wood. I gave him a good deal. It's like a beautiful hardwood roller with wood from Africa. Okay. And yes, it was $165. But we're talking about a tool that this person can use every single day, as many times as he wants to massage and crack his own back for the rest of his freaking life. It's never going to break. This freaking thing weighed 5 pounds. That's how hard and heavy African zebra wood is. And it wasn't even that big of a roller. It was a 2-inch per side roller, which is for somebody up to 200 pounds. But the point of what I'm trying to say is that everything that I want to do in my life, everything, I want it to be of a decent quality. Now, I'm not saying that I want things to be like ridiculous. I don't want to go overboard on things. But if I'm going to make a massage tool, why wouldn't I make it at least out of cherry or maple? And so I had to explain this to this person because he wants to do things easy. He wants to go over and buy some plywood, laminate them together, throw it on his thing, turn on the CNC machine, and watch the deal go zzz, 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 and cut it out. And then, it's easy and it makes a lot of money and it makes a perfect thing, but it's just not natural, and it's so indicative and so reminiscent and so paralleling to the world that we live in. And I'm not going to live that way, the fast food way. That's what fast food is all about. People, they think that what they want to do is go to college, get an education, and get this job, this great paying job that makes them $80,000 a year, where they go and they do the same thing every day. They get in their car. Hopefully, COVID has enabled them to stay home now. See, that right there is a big deal for being able to get away if you really want to. If you really want to get away, now you've got extra time, because all that time that you spent driving, now you can spend it cooking good food for yourself in a slow cooker. Healthy food every day. Think of all the tens of thousands, millions of hours of drive time and money saved. People are saving money now because they're not driving from gas. And perhaps they can even make more money online, or maybe they can do something good for themselves with their health. There's so many different things that can bloom over time eventually, and will, for a lot of people anyway. Perhaps some people will never get it. I don't know. But the point of doing things with quality materials and really taking your time is just like, why not do things right? Why not do things really good instead of just mass-produced garbage? There's so much mass-produced crap in this world, and people have become like that. Think about, like, it's totally, totally true that people can become of a poor quality. Poor quality lifestyle, poor quality diet, poor quality thoughts, poor quality everything. It just manifests. One thing manifests right into another thing. And I haven't been doing a lot of videos lately, other than maybe a few bitching videos. But I've really just been, I haven't felt like doing videos. I haven't felt like every day. You can guarantee that I'll think about it every day. I'll think about whether or not I should do a live stream, or whether or not I want to post a video. And sometimes I'll make clips. I have clips on this computer right now that I could make a video for, but I've not felt like it. Or maybe I just didn't think that the content was good enough quality, or that you'd really be that interested, or that it was just something that I'd reiterated from before. Or maybe I was just too tired and didn't feel like making anything. And that's just kind of how it is right now. I didn't even know that I wanted to go live tonight. The only reason that I've decided to was largely, probably mostly, because I was lonely. And it's still, this doesn't really cut the mustard for me. Nor does talking live with friends online. Totally. We need like real interaction. I'll tell you, people need more than just verbal interaction too. People need sexual interaction with other people, not just one person. And a lot of you are in denial about this, and I don't care. I'm telling you, I know from being a massage therapist. I know touch. And I know people in regards to touch and what their desires. And they may never talk about it. People will never talk about it. It's a secret thing that they hold within themselves because they're afraid to talk about things. Sex is the 8th house, And it's a very secret thing because there are so many detrimental things that can come about. There are detrimental things that can come about from sexual relationships because people don't look at it the correct way. Relationships need to be friends. Relationships need to be first and foremost friends, and not so much the sexual aspect of it. The sexual aspects of having sexual relationships with multiple friends requires that everyone is friends. That's what it will require, because that way you can't get mad at other people because you love them. You love all of them. That's where we're going in the future. We have to all love each other. And the only way that we can really love each other is if we all, imagine the whole world, everyone, all humans, but it's not just humans, the animals too, and the plants, all caring deeply about each other. And I know that seems far-fetched for most people to even grasp in any way, but that's where we have to go. But until people get their shit together, there's just no way that people can love other people because they're so effed up. So many people are so freaking screwed up in this world in so many ways that you can't love them. They're either way too liberal or they're way too conservative. They're way too illogical, or they're way too uncaring, or whatever it may be. People have to come to the center and just be quiet a lot. People are going to have to do that a lot. The video that I created a couple of weeks ago, where I showed you the importance of just laying in Savasana on the floor, corpse position on the floor. I've been doing it, but only sporadically, and mostly when I'm in pain, because I know it'll get me out of the pain. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful. Oftentimes I fall asleep, but it's powerful because it enables you to control your mind a lot more than when you're sleeping, you don't have control over your mind. It can just go nuts all night with dreams, especially if you're pushing your detox. It's a way of purging toxicity, mental toxicity while you sleep. If you're having a lot of crazy dreams, that's what you're doing, in my opinion. It's one of the things, anyway, that you're doing. There's probably multiple reasons for dreams. But one of the reasons is to just purge craziness out of your mind, because we're exposed to so much of it just right now. There's so much craziness in the air. If you don't even watch the news at all, you're being exposed to transmissions from other people's minds in the air constantly. And I think that your body and your mind just need to, just like your body needs to rest at night and recover from your daily activities, your mind needs to do the same thing from all the exposure to all of the yada yada, not just from your own life, but from other people's lives. So I want to create some visualizations for you. Some natural visualizations. The reason that I want to create some natural visualizations right now is because I've learned that what we're experiencing, the negative aspects of what we're experiencing in life right now, are all coming from humanity. And the the good things that we're experiencing, the positive energies, are coming from nature. It only makes sense. See, nature is not going through the degree of peril that we're going through right now. And that's why so many people are escaping and wanting to go out into nature. And you're going to see this more and more and more. And this is exactly what people need to do, and exactly what we've known they needed to do. Because people have been indoors watching TV and their computer screens for the last 60 years. And that's one of the reasons why they're so overweight and so out of shape and just sitting around eating their junk. And so, yeah, hopefully people will do that. But let's just do a visualization right now. And I can create the visualization from having lived in different places in the country. And so there's a peacefulness about the desert, especially in the wintertime in the Southwest, in Arizona. You can walk out in the daytime, not at night. It can still get cold at night. But you can walk out in the winter time, in the day, in the desert, and there is such a beautiful peace and warmth. It's not too hot. It's generally very sunny and beautiful. And there can be cactus flowers and lizards, and there can be washes where you can see where it flash floods and the rain will hit these washes, and you don't want to be in one of those washes when it does that, but you can walk in them if it's safe. And it's really beautiful and amazing in the Southwest, and the colors of red and orange. And especially like in New Mexico, and in Montana they call it Big Sky Country, but the skies in New Mexico are amazing. And the cloud formations are just elegant, like, and the colors, sometimes the colors, so I lived in Silver City, New Mexico for 2.5 years. And before that, I lived briefly in a town in Arizona, just over the border, a Mormon town, a Mormon farming community in Arizona, because there was a spa there. But I remember times driving back from Las Cruces or El Paso for something that I was doing, or back from Mexico from having gotten my teeth worked on. And I was driving on Interstate 10 and looking at the clouds and the sun rays shining through the clouds from the west from the sunset. Absolutely gorgeous, just like amazing. The skies you can see forever in New Mexico because the mountains are far away and it's mostly just like kind of a high mountain desert. and you can see the skies for so far. And of course, most people are familiar with the Roswell. Is it Roswell or Rosman? I lived close to Rosman, North Carolina, but in New Mexico they have Roswell, and that's where they supposedly saw there was a downed alien, like a crashed alien spacecraft. And if you go to that town, I've never been there personally, but it's a tourist trap, you know. And they have all kinds of alien things that you can buy, of course. But there's a reason why people think that they've seen things there. There's a reason why SpaceX takes off from New Mexico. It's because, you know, you can see for a long way and it's clear and open skies. And that's just one of the amazing, beautiful, beautiful aspects of living there that I miss. I think I probably miss that area more than any place in the West. But the hot springs in the West, I've really been craving them a lot lately. And I do that typically in the winter time. You know, it's natural to want to go sit in hot springs when it's really cold. um, but the thing that I like about living here in North Carolina is the spring and the fall. In fact, most of the year, from the spring through the fall, not right now, it's still winter, and I mean, the grass is getting a little bit greener out there, but in the winter it looks really dead. But in about a month, it'll look really beautiful out there, and we'll start to get, right now we're just starting to get tulips and a few flowers, but it gets so green here. It gets so green. And when I first moved out here from the West, I had never, except for traveling to the Northwest, and I did live in Junction City, Oregon for 6 months. And it is really, really green in Oregon and Washington. But here, we also have sunny days, a lot of sunny days in the wintertime that they don't have in the Northwest. Like when I lived in Junction City, Oregon, which is just outside of Eugene, it was cloudy and rainy for like 6 months straight, other than maybe 10 days. It was so ridiculously rainy. And I can't do that. I cannot do that. But it is so beautifully, beautifully green here, like in the Northwest. And the animals in the pastures. I don't like hiking here near as much as I do in the Rockies. When it comes to hiking, and when it comes to getting away from people, there's nothing better than in the United States anyways than the Rockies. Because you can go hiking and you're alone. You can go hiking on awesome trails that don't get overrun with bushes and stuff. And you can hike to the top of a mountain that's 8,000 or 9,000 feet high in the Rockies. And that's just so cool. And the cross-country skiing on BLM land and stuff, like places where you can go, and there's just so many less people. And that's what makes the Rockies so good versus out here in the Appalachian Mountains. But the green here, and you know, if you believe in the chakras and you believe in color therapy and what that can do for you, the green of this area is so incredible. How beautiful, and the foliage, and they say that these are the oldest mountains in the world, the Appalachian Mountains. And yeah, there's a lot of bear in the mountains here, and that can be scary a little bit. And I actually ran upon a mother. Me and some people were hiking, and we saw right in front of us, not very far ahead of us on the trail, there was a mother bear and her two cubs up in a tree. And we're like, nope, we're not going to walk past that. But they generally leave you alone, and I don't think that there's been uh, a black bear killing here in I don't even know how long. But in the past, I've done videos in Asheville, and I can tell you from having gone there today and experienced the energy, the war on COVID energy, the requirement, the absolute requirement for masks and this and that, even though a lot of the tourists are just blowing that off, the tourists are totally blowing that off. But the whole energy of that and the city, I'm not going to be doing videos for the most part in any cities. This year, I'm going to find things out in nature to do videos of. And I think that that's good for my channel, and I think that's good for me. I think it's good for everything. I was thinking today about doing some videos at some more communities because I am trying to still, I'm going to continue to keep trying to start a community. And my Facebook group is up to like 750 people. And I changed the name of it the other day to Holistic Homesteading, something health community forming, holistic health, natural health community forming. Yeah. I just want to make sure that everyone knows what the community is all about, which is holistic health. It's not first and foremost a homesteading community or a, tiny house community or something like that. No. The most important aspect of it is that I get like-minded people together. And not just like-minded people. It has to start out as long-term holistic health practitioners that have accomplished a relatively high degree of health. It has to start out with that for a lot of different reasons, not just the like-mindedness part of it and the lifestyle part of it, but it has to be something that started with like super strong people. I want to start this like with a base of people that's like so rock solid, like seriously rock solid, that it can never be dismantled, that it can last for a lot, like serious roots, deep and serious roots. And people can come later and experience it, and perhaps lesser health degreed people can come and live there maybe later. But initially, I really, really want super healthy people coming there. And I want us to build this place with these people that have like really strong holistic modalities, abilities, and physical abilities, mental abilities, computer abilities, gardening abilities. And I might, I've come to this realization. I mean, in the beginning, it was kind of like out of fear of the whole COVID yada yada. And over time, over many, many months, I came to this realization that there was no reason for me to lose it and go nuts and try and throw something together. There was just no reason for me to do that. That would be changing my game plan. I've been playing this holistic health game thing for 20 years plus, maybe 30 years now. And it's just been a steady progression. It's been a very long and steady progression. There have been times when, I kind of went crazy and went overboard with different things, like going pure vegan, right? I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to join their club. I really wanted to be a member with a shirt that said vegan. I'm a vegan. F you. If you're not a vegan, ew. And I'm becoming more gentle now. I'm becoming more accepting. That doesn't mean that I want a lot of people that aren't in the ballpark. I don't want people that are in the ballpark directly in my life. It just means that I'm willing to stay quiet a lot more often and not express my extreme opinions. They're not extreme to me, they're extreme to them because they haven't achieved the things that I've achieved yet. It's okay. It's all a big progression. It's all, we do things, we take one little thing at a time. So you may have heard me mention that my father passed away recently. I found out about it a couple of weeks ago. I feel as though this is a milestone for me. I feel as though his dying over the last several months of Alzheimer's, I'm sure that I felt that and somehow internally was experiencing it too, in addition to all these other things. But knowing that he's gone now mentally, knowing that his energy has passed this world and is gone now is relieving mostly to me. I had a few sad days. I had some hard days, but nothing like when I lost Chakra. My dog was my world. I'm not saying that I want another dog now yet. I have things to figure out. I have like serious things to figure out. Every time I get another animal, I try and do better. I did do better with Chakra. She had a pretty good life. But I want to do better, and dog food, I can tell you, doesn't cut the mustard. How a person can feed a dog, especially a large dog, fresh food in this world that's not processed, mass-produced chicken, something to that degree, I do not yet know. Unless you're like a deer hunter, unless you're some kind of a hunter that's got a lot of scraps. See, that's how dogs became our friends in the first place, because our ancestors were big meat eaters. I guarantee you that my ancestors were heavy duty fish and beef and whatever eaters and hunters. My physical ancestors. My spirit is not from this world. Okay? For the most part, my spirit is not from this world. it was thrown into this body and it adapted to this world and a lot of the things that have been placed before me in this world. But I've never felt comfortable here in a lot of ways. It's not been an easy ride. But dogs, humans are going to have to figure out how to feed dogs a lot better than the way they're doing it now. And they're going to have to learn how to have a different lifestyle than leaving them all day in their house. It's just not going to work. That was one of the things that I was blessed because I'm self-employed. I was blessed to be able to have that a lot of people don't. They have to still go to their jobs and leave their animals alone all day long, just sitting around. And then they get home and their animals go nuts. Ah, mom's home, dad's home. They're running around the house. And it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing to have them. But people are going to come to this realization from watching all these animal videos on YouTube, when they look into the faces, when they look into the eyes of the deer and the groundhogs and the squirrels and the birds. And I learned from owning chickens, they're special animals. They're when I had to give up my chickens so that I could move into this apartment, I was devastated. I totally loved Corona, my chicken that would sit with me. She was the sweetest little thing. I loved all my chickens. And that was one of the hardest things, not like losing my dog, but that was a hard thing. But the thing is that it's not easy living in the country, because a lot of the people that live in the country are like totally primitive people. I knew it a long time before I moved to the country. I was born and partially raised in Utah. I went to high school in Utah. I've seen what a lot of the screwballs, like I went to school in San Diego too. I've seen what a lot of screwball people that live in the country and or like gang people, I've seen a lot of, I'm 55 years old. There are a lot of primitive ass people in this world. And they do all kinds of interesting things in the country that affect you if they're your neighbor. And it's one of the hardest things with finding a place and living in peace in the country. If you've got a bad hillbilly redneck neighbor in the country, it can be literally like hell, serious trouble. And the sheriff, good luck getting the sheriff to do something about them and their antics. Good luck. So, 6 years I lived in the country, and I learned a lot, my friends. I learned a lot. I'm not saying that I don't want to live in the country again, because I do. I just have to get the right neighbors. And I will not buy a piece of land. I will not buy a piece of land like in an area or whatever before I've met the neighbors, before I've gone over to neighbors and said, howdy, how are you doing? Believe me, I will know every neighbor. I will have looked at Google Maps from the satellite image. I will have looked at the whole freaking area to make sure there isn't some kind of a factory spewing some crap into the air or the water or something. There are so many things that you have to be aware of with human beings. It is absolutely amazing what people will do for money or just to survive. They'll allow any kind of a factory to come into their community if it's paying some good jobs. Yeah. It's just, this world, it's just crazy, the priorities that people have. Okay, so when I go out walking in my neighborhood here, I look around at the grass. You wouldn't, well, you probably would believe. But I'm going to take you on a video trip walking around my neighborhood here in town. And the properties are big, not like, say, in San Diego where I lived, where the houses are like this. And the walls for one house are maybe 15 feet. This wall is 15 feet away from the next house's wall, right? That's not how it is here in the country. People own at least a quarter of an acre or half an acre or a full acre of property. And what does it consist of? Grass. So I'm thinking to myself as I'm walking around, I wonder if there'll be some kind of a famine in our country someday. Well, people could always start gardens. But see, the problem isn't just, it's not just that people need to start gardens because there's not enough food. That's not just the problem. It's also that the food, the quality of the food that people are buying, and the poisons that are sprayed on the food that they buy. You would think that if they owned, these are people that own their own land. Oh, I just rent here. If I could, I'd start a garden here. But the landlord won't let me because it lowers the property value. I've experienced, how many of you have experienced that scenario where you rent a place and you would like to have various things going on outside, for instance, hanging a laundry line. But that would be too much of an eyesore and it would lower the property values. That's the mindset of a business or of a landlord in our country. The only thing that matters is the property values. It's not that people are needing to enjoy working out there in the garden. It's not the health of the people that are staying in the apartment complex. It's the only thing that matters is the property values and how it looks. Hanging laundry hanging on a line outside of an apartment complex, that would look like Tijuana, or that would look like some third world country or something, right? And they don't want that. You feel out of place here because there is trauma in your life, Leslie. Yeah, I was just reading through a few comments. But anyways, so what I'm thinking with all of these yards full of grass, and you'll hear the mowers out there, and they're all riding mowers. They're all riding around, riding on their mowers. There's so much noise from those freaking things, you know. But there's so much room for improvement with all of that. But for me, sometimes, probably at least every other day, I think about moving to a different country. And today, as I was coming home from Asheville, feeling so dissatisfied from the energy that was there, because it's become so apparent that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And it's hard to say where the people in between are going. It's really hard to say. I think that we're all getting really frustrated. But as I was driving home, I was thinking about the aspects of all the shops in downtown Asheville and how they're becoming more geared towards the sales of things to the rich people. And the only, only the rich people can afford the art and the expensive things, There are some places that you can go and buy mass-produced Indian trinkets, etc. But I was like, well, what kind of a marketplace would you really like to go to? And I just want to go to a simple quality marketplace. Like if you go to Hilo, Hawaii, if you go to Hilo every Saturday, I believe it is, they have a farmer's market of amazing food and art. That's what I really want. Maybe I should move to Hilo. I don't know. So here's how I can do that. I'll tell you how I can possibly do something like that. And one of the reasons why I'm not getting an animal write-off is because they restrict your ability to travel. They restrict your ability to pull strings and do things because you have to take care of your animals. It's not like some people don't. That's not how I am. If I have a dog, that dog gets taken care of, and I take care of that dog till the end. But that end has come. Hi, Sunny Boots. Hi, Luke. Hi, Madam Katerina. Hi, Michael Jackson. Hi, Deacon Stoll. Hi, Taylor. So it's possible that I can get at least part of my products, like I was saying. I can have some of them made more by a machine, like a CNC machine, I think they call it. It's possible that I could have some of the finished work made or done by somebody else at home as a subcontractor. Bye, Michael. And so if I can get some of the work done by other people or machines, then it's possible that I could do something different. It's really hard though, because I have so many tools and so much stuff that I don't think I could ever give away. I'd have to put it in storage or something. So for me to move to Hawaii, and not only that, I'd love to live in a place like that, but I have to figure out how to make a living. Okay, so I want to tell you guys right now about something that I've probably not discussed with you that's really kind of heavy that I might do someday. Well, I can tell you that I've given a lot of thought to it. And up to this point, I've not really cared that much other than in the beginning about the demise of my channel. When I talk about the demise of my channel, I'm talking about less and less views, less and less subscribers. Yes, a lot of people still get a lot of benefits from my videos every day, but at the same time, it's really kind of bottomed out. And I'm not picking up the numbers that I used to pick up. And every time I make any kind of a controversial video where I tell my truths about whatever it may be, Donald Trump or alcohol or pot, stuff like that, a lot of people don't like it and they unsubscribe. And I'm not going to dispute that, and I'm not going to change the way I do business. But at the same time, sometimes I wish that I could expand my channel again. And I can tell you that for sure someday, if I'm able to start this community, and I think that I will, that will draw a lot of interest towards the things that I'm doing again, because it's something different. What I'm doing tonight is just not really different. It's just telling you my thoughts and feelings from between now and the last time that I did a Sunday Night Live. But I cannot tell you how many times I have thought about getting in my car and going out with some kind of some people would call it a manifesto, and spreading my shit everywhere. And when I say spreading my fecal matter everywhere, I'm talking about like writing it all up on a Word doc. You see all the things, that I talk about, whether it be squatting or natural foods or herbal medicine or the relationship of all of those things to spirituality. When you hear me talk about all of those things, have you ever thought about what would happen if Brett wrote everything down on one piece of paper in very small print so that it would all fit on one piece of paper? And then I went out and I just spread it around, like physically. So first I write it all out, and then I send it to a print company online, and I have them print it up with a really kind of outlandish title to it. And I have a company print up 5,000 of them or 10,000 of them. And I get in my car, and the car is all ready to go. So a lot of you have been wondering, why has Brett been making his car into this thing he calls the car beat, where it's got a refrigerator in it, and it's got the ability for him to sleep in the back of it, and it's got a car carrier on the top of it, and he's got all of his kitchen stuff up there with a Coleman stove, and there's videos that I have showing all the different things, including electricity with a solar panel on the hood and an inverter, a 1500-watt inverter inside the car. And so I've been working on my car for this long period of time and trying to get it ready for this journey of sorts, or multiple journeys, where I actually go out and I spread all the things that I've learned over 28 years all over the place by all kinds of means. And I make videos while I'm doing it. And I try and stay out of trouble, because you know how people don't want to hear the truth, and how a lot of people think that it's crazy. But if I do it far enough away from where I live, perhaps I won't get killed. And so I have a couple of more car parts that are coming that would make my car now, like I keep on replacing all these sensors. There's all these sensors under the hood that give signals to the car's computer to tell it how much fuel, how much air, how much acceleration, how much throttle, how much temperature is coming from the motor. And all those sensors from the old motor that were put on the JDM motor that I had replaced into the car 2 years ago, they were all worn out, because every time I replace one, the car runs a little bit better. And so I've replaced almost all of them now, and I have only a few more to go probably, because I've replaced them all. And now it runs pretty good, but it still has a little bit more. There's still a few glitches. But one of those parts that I just bought from Toyota, and yes, you have to buy the Toyota sensors because the aftermarket ones for sensors are not very good. So it's best to buy original Toyota parts. So this one was $90. And so that's coming soon in the mail and is getting installed into the car. And the car is getting to the point of where I feel that I could possibly do this. And what it enables me and my channel to do is possibly get some publicity. Whenever you do something crazy, whenever you do something notable, whenever you do something kind of outlandish, it can get you noticed. And so that's kind of what my thoughts are on this. There's a little voice in me, though, that says that I don't really want to. There's another part of me that says that I shouldn't die with my whatever that's still left in me. I might try and just draw a fine line in between and do it mellowly. I might write it up in a manner that's not too offensive. Okay? If I can write it up in a manner that's not too offensive but gets my point over, then I think I can do it. The only way I can tell you for sure that the only way that I'll be able to do it financially is with your support. You should know that. Okay, so we're all connected. Everyone, like I'd said before, we're all interconnected. But if you're somebody that watches my videos and has benefited from them and admires them, and you're stick with me and continue watching my videos, you're in this with me, okay? You should know that. And people out there, they need to know the truth because we're coming to this head. We're coming to a breaking point. We're gradually hitting that more and more each day of where they have to accept the truths about what's real and what's not, what's important and what's not, what's a good priority and what's not. They have to eventually start to change the way they do business, their lifestyles, their diets, their everything, their finances, the things that they're buying, the things that they shouldn't be buying, the things that they need to focus on more, and the things they need to chuck and get rid of. And so somebody needs to put it in black and white and go out there and hand it to them nicely. They need to put it in black and white firmly but nicely and not be personal, not get personal about it, but just write my piece. I need to write my piece down in a big long thing. We're not going to call it a manifesto. We're just going to call it the truth. I don't know specifically how better to describe it. I really don't. I just need to continue to work on my healing. That's another thing, okay? So it's not just the car healing. Everything is paralleling. Everything is related. So when I see that my car is gradually getting healthier and healthier, I see that I'm also gradually getting healthier and healthier. And it tends to lead me to believe that all of these things coincide. And for some people, they could just not see that. They could just not ever fathom how those two can relate. But they do, believe me. When I moved into this apartment, it was not doing well. I was not doing well. My dog was not doing well. We had gained a lot of knowledge and experience from having lived in that cabin out there. We had done a lot of healing. The dog had done a lot of healing. That dog came to this planet for a reason, just like every single one of you came to this planet for a reason, and me. We can't go back. We can't change things that have happened. We shouldn't want to change things that have happened in the past. We should just accept them because that's the way they were. It's fine to think about them, but it's best to realize, well, what were the benefits of us having to have gone through all of those things? We may not be able, you may not be at a point of where you're able to look at it that way. You may be still too pissed off about something that happened recently in your past, or maybe a long time ago. But eventually we have to get to that point and look deeper, not just the superficial anger that resulted from the things that happened to us. We have to say, well, why did that person do something that we didn't like? Was it because they were taught something? Was it because they were just trying to survive? Like my father, for instance. And so that enables us to have peace with that person. It enables us to have peace with our past. And that enables us to move forward and be in the now. Things that I've been dealing with during this extreme period of healing for all of us. My car is a Swiss Army knife. So the plan is to start out gentle with the car and maybe just go to the beach. Maybe probably not that far, no. Probably not that far because I live way far away. Actually, you know, I live in North Carolina, but I don't live close to the beach. I live like 6-7 hours drive from the beach. If I drive 50 miles an hour, like 10 hours from the beach. So the time just changed, and so now it's 11:42 instead of 10:42. But we've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes. So I should probably call it quits for the night. I really appreciate y'all. If anyone is interested in any of my products, it's definitely a good time to go and get them, at least for the possibility of getting it shipped really quickly. Like a pillow, I can ship it within the next day or two. I have on the bench 16 foot friends, regular foot friends that are being made right now. Awesome massage tool. I have completely completed a whole lot of wooden spine rollers that are ready to go. They're completed, they're fully ready in most sizes except for like 2-inch. But I have a couple of 1 7/8 inch wide rollers. I have soother massage tools. I have shindigs that I can make within an hour. They just need to be finished. They're cut out and basically made. Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate you, and thanks for helping me out with Airbnb. But yeah, this is a journey, and I'm just telling you some things that I'm thinking and some things that I'd like to do. Maybe I can't tell you for sure that I'd be wanting to go out and try and spread my stuff as much as that. I'll tell you that I have thought about doing that in a serious way for a long time, but everything has to come together for me to do that. One way for me to be able to do it for sure, if I met a girl that I really liked that wanted to go with me, that would make it a lot more fun. That would make it a lot more enjoyable and possible and yeah, encouraging. Like for me to do things alone, I can do them alone. I mean, I'm strong enough to do them alone. But it would be a lot better if I met some cute thing, that would go with me, sleep with me in the back of the car and make videos for me, all of that. So, yeah, but that's just another thing that has to manifest. And you know that I'm not like that has to manifest in a polyamorous way of no commitment because I've seen too much trouble with that. My dad was married 4 times. My mom, I know as far as I know up to this point, I haven't talked to her for 7 years or something, has been married twice. Granted, they're bad examples. My parents, bad examples. But for me, having been a massage therapist, having been into holistic healing, having lived for 55 years and knowing who I am and what I want, I don't want to be committed to one person. No way. I just want friends that really like me and I really like them. I care about them and I can be a friend to somebody till the end. Till the end. A good friend. But whether I want to be like responsible for somebody, like financially and stuff like that, only to a certain degree, depending on the person and how much I care about them. But for me, I have to be very independent and I have to keep my life free and easy. But at the same time, that just that and my being honest and open about that, it is more available and possible because of my age, because women that are my age understand that that's a good thing. A lot more of them understand that that's a good thing and they feel the same way versus younger women, perhaps they're more needy of somebody to provide for them or something, but financially, like, and job wise and stuff, that also is changing completely with generations, and women are a lot more financially independent nowadays, and you're going to see in the future that we're moving in these directions because a lot of the reason why people got married in the past was because they needed somebody. Men needed the emotional support. Women needed the financial support or the physical help with doing things, all these different reasons. But with the computer, computers have completely changed things. Society rules and things are completely changed, even from just 30 years ago or 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Everything is completely changing, and it makes everyone more independent. The more independent and the more able people are to survive with just one income, the more people are thinking to themselves, hey, I like living by myself. I like my alone time. I like having the ability to just go and live and be by myself. Whether you're gay or you're straight or whatever the hell you are, you want, and totally, I'll tell you that with my community, I'm going to tell people that, like, and people aren't required to live like that. There are things that I do require in the community, but if people want to be married, cool. So for some people, that might be the best thing. But I'm telling you that I think that the more progressive of a person you are, and the more independent of a person that you are, the more you have the ability and the more you have the insight and um, just the to admit how great it is to have your own space. But in a community like what I'm trying to do, it's like an eco village where it's not just people living an acre away from each other. We're talking about an eco village like this apartment complex, like an apartment complex of where if you want to go have dinner or you want to go have sex or you want to go play games or whatever with your neighbor, all you have to do is walk out your door and walk over to their house or vice versa. Think about how awesome it would be to live in a community of people that all loved each other mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and people that lived lifestyles. How would it be to be able to get a massage every day? How would it be to be able to just go and talk about your problems to somebody that really understood you and really cared about you? It's a dream. It's like a dream life. It's like a Garden of Eden. I've got to go.